Oh, so, listeners, get this. Today we are going deep, deep into Nigeria.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and we found this source, right? And it's really interesting. It's a funny one,
Okay.
but it's kind of like, poking fun at Nigerian life,
Uh-huh.
but in a way that I think kind of like shows what makes it special.
I like that. Humor can be a good way to get to the heart of things.
Yeah, exactly. It's like instead of saying, "Oh, Nigeria is this" or "Nigeria is that," he uses humor to kind of let you experience it.
Yeah,
You know?
right. To see the contradictions, the little quirks, the
Yeah.
things that make it tick.
Yeah, exactly. It's a wild ride, a vibrant, kind of crazy, but ultimately, I think, really beautiful picture of what life is like there. So you ready to dive in?
Absolutely. Let's get into it.
Okay. So one of the first things that jumped out at me from this source was their idea of time. Like it's so different from what we're used to.
Yeah, that whole tomorrow thing is really interesting.
It is. Like
Uh,
tomorrow doesn't necessarily mean tomorrow. It's more like
A general concept.
concept.
More like sometime in the future, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's next tomorrow, which is
Yeah.
even further out. It's almost like it made me wonder if it's a way of not being so tied to deadlines and schedules.
Right. It could be a more relaxed approach to time. Like maybe relationships and just going with the flow are more important than sticking to a rigid timetable.
Yeah. It makes you think, huh? Like in our culture, we're so focused on, time is money, gotta be on time.
Yeah, deadlines, deadlines, deadlines.
Exactly. But maybe there's something to be said for a more fluid approach.
Yeah, like maybe it reduces stress or fosters a stronger sense of community. There could be advantages for sure. But yeah, I'm sure there are drawbacks too.
Totally. Okay, so moving on, we can't talk about Nigeria without talking about the food.
Oh, the food.
Seriously, this source had my mouth watering. They were talking about suya, jollof rice,
Yeah.
egusi soup, pepper soup, akara. I mean, come on.
Right, it's a culinary adventure waiting to happen.
And, I love how food can tell you so much about a culture, right?
Yeah. Totally. It's like a window into their history, their values, their geography. Like, take jollof rice. It's a staple all across West Africa.
Oh, yeah.
But every country has its own twist on it, and they all argue about who makes it best, which I think is kind of, speaks to how important this dish is.
Yeah. It's like a friendly rivalry.
Exactly. And then you have egusi soup. It's made with ground melon seeds, and you can tell where it's from by what veggies and proteins they add to it. It's like
Right.
all about resourcefulness and culinary creativity.
So cool. It makes you want to go there and taste it all.
It does. I'm getting hungry just thinking about
I
it.
do too. But, okay. Imagine you land in Nigeria, you've got all these amazing flavors swirling in your head, and then you hit the road.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. According to this source, driving in Nigeria is
Yeah.
an experience.
I can imagine. Organized chaos, maybe?
Maybe. Think more like a symphony of honking horns, where overtaking is an art form, and lane discipline is, well, let's just say it's flexible.
Not for the faint of heart.
I know, right? So, listener, how do you think you would handle that? Would it be exhilarating? Terrifying?
Right. Like, it would definitely challenge our ideas of order and rules on the road, but maybe, like, there's an unspoken understanding among drivers,
Mm-hmm.
a system we just don't see.
That's an interesting thought. But it's funny because even with all this chaos, this source really highlights the resilience of Nigerians, their humor, their entrepreneurial spirit. It's like everyone's got a side hustle, a plan,
Oh, yeah. That's something you see all over the world, though, right? People adapting, finding creative solutions. But maybe in Nigeria, it's just amplified.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. Maybe because of the challenges.
Yeah.
It's like this incredible resourcefulness is born out of necessity.
And that can be incredibly inspiring. Like when you see people overcoming obstacles and making things work, it kind of gives you hope, right?
It really does. But, it's not all sunshine and roses, right? Like
Mhm.
the source also talks about how Nigeria is a land of contrasts.
Right, where immense wealth exists alongside poverty.
Exactly. And tradition is constantly clashing with modernity. It's a complex picture.
It is. But that complexity is what makes it so fascinating, don't you think? It's a reminder that progress isn't always a straight line and that societies are always evolving.
Yeah, it definitely makes you think. We've only scratched the surface here, but I think this deep dive gives you a sense of what Nigeria is like. It's vibrant, it's chaotic, it's full of contradictions.
Definitely. It's a place that stays with you.
It does. So, listener, I'm curious, if you could experience just one aspect of Nigerian culture firsthand, what would it be?
What would draw you in? What would you want to explore further?
Think about it. And until next time, keep exploring and stay curious.
See you on our next deep dive.